Hello. Well, it's the end of the day. It's Thursday. Thought I'd position the camera at a different angle. You'll slowly get to see my condo little by little by different angles. That's my patio back there that I seldom ever use. And I got a piece of furniture right in front of the double doors because I really never go out the patio through those doors. I go out through the kitchen. Anyway, so today, casual day, worked, had to end up two assignments. I did a court hearing over the phone. They're kind of testing it out. It's sort of working out, but boy, is it it's tough because you have so many people on the line, all speaking, and I have to translate for everybody who speaks. So it gets a little bit complicated because sometimes the voices sound all the same, so I'm not sure who all is talking, and then people forget that I'm on the phone, so they'll speak like long multiple sentences and paragraphs without pausing. And though I'm really good at quick note taking and being able to regurgitate what's being said, in court you have to be not an interpreter, because an interpreter gives you a bit of a leeway to paraphrase, to capture the meaning of things. In court you have to be literal. So you're acting as a translator. So you're doing word for word. And it gets a little bit tricky because some attorneys speak really fast. And so I had to pause people constantly to say, slow down. I didn't use a line that I've used before, but I'm not a human tape recorder. So I cannot just memorize, reams of monologue of an attorney, going on and on and on and on, and then be work perfect. And if I'm not work perfect and it goes to appeals, it can get reversed or thrown back out and they have to redo the entire trial. So fortunately, the judge that was on this case, I've worked with him for many years and he knows me very well. He always requests me. So he gave me the leeway to interrupt people and tell them to stop. So we got through it. It really wasn't a complicated court case. It should have taken, all of 30 minutes. It was actually a hearing, administrative hearing. So it should have taken about 30 minutes, but it lasted about an hour and a half. Not because of me, but because we had to stop. Usually in hearings, I do consecutive translation. So as you're speaking, simultaneous translation. So as you're speaking, I'm speaking. So, and I usually just kind of talk to the Spanish speaker while the other people are talking, and I kind of indicate who's talking in the room. Consecutive, as you talk, then you quiet down, then I speak, and we take turns speaking. So consecutive makes it last a lot longer versus simultaneous. And then, of course, on top of all of this, the phone connections were really horrible. For whatever reason, in fact, the judge was joking about it because he could barely make out some of the people, too. And it's like, it's the system with the court. And my dogs decided to join me back here. So if you see something moving in the background, that's what it is. So it was very much of a struggle to do, but it was still nice to work, even though I got to do this from home. Usually I have to dress up in a suit and go to the courthouse. In this case, I was in my shorts and I was in my flip-flops and I had a t-shirt on and I did from the company from my desk. You'd think they have Zoom or some sort of teleconferencing, but they don't. It's just done all over the phone. And then I had another CPS case that was a minor thing. It was more of a misunderstanding, but we still technically, whenever there's a call to CPS, all calls have to be responded. So I met the worker up in Plano, and sure enough, she kind of suspected it was more of a misunderstanding or miscommunication. Something got blown out of proportion, and the referral was made to CPS, but there really probably wasn't abuse. And so we interviewed every family member separately, and yeah, it was just one of those things. It was something got a little bit out of hand. There was an argument in the home, but somebody overreacted, and this was a nice household, nice family. We were really inconveniencing them. But you never know, because sometimes you think it's nothing and you get to the house and you discover it's all something major going on. But in this case, no, it really wasn't. It was as we suspected, nothing major. And so it was just one visit and the case is going to be closed and wrapped up and move along. But needless to say, the family was very nervous, understandably, because CPS is showing up. But we were trying to explain there's two divisions there's more than two divisions to CPS, but the two big ones is alternative response, which is when we suspect that something might have happened, but it's nothing major, but we need to just address it and talk to the family to see if there's any concerns or worries or something that we need to address. And then there's investigations. The investigations is usually because something major has gone down. Usually some sort of criminal activity happened as far as a law was broken. There was domestic violence. There was something, children were being beaten or major drug abuse in the house. Or it could be a variety of things, but something probably on the more illegal thing happened. Whereas alternative responses like, I heard the family arguing a whole bunch next door. You might want to go check on them. So that kind of thing. So there's a big difference between the two. And this was an alternative response. And as I say, as soon as we got there, we realized it was, it was good that somebody called and they were concerned that you should. It's better to be safe than sorry. And as I say, there's been a few times where I showed up with an alternative response and walked in the house and went, oh my God, I'll never forget years ago. We thought it was just a minor misunderstanding because the kid kind of had gone to school and his clothes weren't the cleanest, but we knew the family was very poor and that they probably did not have a laundromat there in their apartment. They had to go to a washateria. So we thought, they're complaining the kid is kind of a little bit smelly with his clothes. We'll just go and knock on the door and talk to the parents. You need to wash your kids' clothes a little bit more frequently. Got there and it was a hoarder's house. Oh my God. It was one of those, it was just like you see on television. I had never been to a hoarder's house before, and it was, there was no place for us to sit. They threw a blanket over some of the trash. That was the bed for the kid. There was, the filth, the amount of food scraps everywhere. I was frightening. So you never know. We thought we were going to go there to tell the family, the kid's coming to school a little bit dirty. And my God, what we discovered in that house. It was just horrendous. So that's why CPS has to respond to every call, because you just never know what's behind those doors. But anyhow, and then because I was up in that area of town, I called my mother up and I said, hey, let's have dinner again. So I got to see her again. I got her some barbecue. She loves barbecues, Spring Creek barbecue. She's a fan of that place. It's not my favorite place for barbecue, but she loves that kind of barbecue there. So I picked her up some barbecue and a baked potato, and she was happy as a clam. Came home, walked the dog, who has been so misbehaving today. I think because I actually have worked some this week and I've been away from home. And I wasn't away from home for like just 30 or short 1 hour jobs, but assignments that lasted a few hours, which is what my normal schedule was. But she's been so accustomed to being with me nonstop. This dog is going nuts. She's acting like I have abandoned her. I love the greetings when I get home, but then she's like constant attention. Even before I went on a job assignment this morning, after being gone for so many hours yesterday, even today, this morning, she was just like, love me, pay attention to me, don't leave me. I have to be by your side. You have to be doing something with me nonstop. And I'm like, dog, I need my personal space. She's trying to practically crawl inside my torso. She's just has to be so on top of me, and then constantly play with me, pet me, love me, do something more than usual. But that's because I actually worked some and I was out of the house, and she's so accustomed to having me here. Isn't that right, Trinity? As you can see, she's even sitting right behind me. Say hi. Can you see yourself on the camera, Trinity? Yeah, she's like, I just want to be by you. She somehow or other knows when I'm on the camera, though. She leaves me more alone. She doesn't get into my face as much. Anyway, that is my news for today. I try to not watch much news because, needless to say, it's always, on the grim side. But I did get to watch the mayor of Las Vegas talk to Anderson Cooper last night. Was she drunk? And then it was like psychedelic raccoon makeup. The blue eyeliner. I was just like, oh my God, the lady was a mess. And that's a mayor of a city of 2.3 million people. How scary. I can't believe she got elected. She was such a mess. It is mind-blowing. And she's wanting to reopen the city because she wants to be like the placebo to see what happens if you open up the city completely without any restrictions, to see what really would happen with the coronavirus. It's like, are you nuts? But and then Mitch McConnell, not helping out the blue states, because in the blue states, there's not a single red person voting. A lot of these states are blue states, but they do have swaths of counties that are red. I can think in California, when I lived in California, Orange County was pretty much a diehard conservative county, but he just willing to let California go bankrupt. So all those Republicans that live in that state, he's screwing them over too. I'm like, this is literally, it's usually party over people, but now it's party over life. And they call themselves educated. wise. I mean, this is a senator that's been there for so long. He needs to go. I'm sorry, Mitch McConnell. You're just nuts. I mean, when you take this virus and make it so political that you're willing to let states go bankrupt because they're democratically governed states, that really shows you don't care about people. If you truly care about people, you care about all people, not just a select few. So, and then his state's a red state and receives all this federal aid to stay afloat. So he's willing to let his state receive all this federal aid. And I thought they weren't into this whole socialism, communism thing. It makes no sense. They're so hypocritical. I voted Republican. I have applauded certain Republicans that I thoroughly admired, and I voted for them. And I'm mainly Democratic. I am very liberal, but sometimes I see somebody that's a really effective representative or effective governor or effective congressman, I will support them, even if I don't totally agree with him, if I think they can get the job done properly and if they really are looking at the best interest of the constituencies. So I'm willing to switch parties. So I guess I'm more independent that way. I lean pretty much Democratic. But this whole thing of loyalty to party, and damned if you're not part of the party, I just don't get it. And it's sad. It really is sad. And I think this has been a wake-up call for this country. We've always thought of ourselves as the leading country in the world. Well, we are economically because of the amount of people and the amount of wealth in this country. But as far as actually being the leader of the world, as far as in ideology and in function and ability to really run a government properly, this virus has shown how backwards we are. We are not leading in this world. Everybody else is leaving us in the dust of the industrialized nations. And it goes to show you, we have been living as a delusion in this country. We are deluded. We think of ourselves as numero uno. We're the best, number one. No, we're not. Unfortunately, we're not. We just have that attitude. Yes, we have the spending power, and yes, we have the military power. But those two things do not make a country great. And it has become evident that we are lagging behind the rest of the industrialized nations. I mean, the way just other countries are handling this virus and already taking control of it and been able to, flatten the curve and actually go down on the curve, and they're starting to reopen their countries. And they had it bad. But they took such good action, and everybody worked together, and the government assisted the people. So even though they had to stop working, they were getting regular paychecks. I still have yet to get my stimulus check. And we're going to get one. They're going to have to try to see about getting another one down the line at some point. You've got countries that are paying people out weekly or every 2 weeks. And they're smaller economies. Yes, there's less population, but it's a big chunk of their money goes to help these people out, and they're able to do it successfully, and they've controlled the virus, and they're starting to reopen their countries. And we're here debating whether human lives are expendable for the economy. Anyhow, this virus has really brought out the best and worst, but it really put a big spotlight on this country and showing the inefficiencies, the inequalities, the lack of coordination, the lack of function that this supposedly great country has. I mean, we're not quite a third world country yet, but we're definitely not leaders in this world. It has shown how incapable we are. And it's sad because I know I'd like to think of our country's numero uno, but it's so obvious now that we are not. Anyway, sounds kind of grim. Have a wonderful day. I will talk to you guys tomorrow. I'll try to tomorrow update you guys as to, because I've not been sleeping much this week, because the 25th, which is a Saturday, I'm anniversarying a horrible event. So I've been having very restless nights and not much sleep. So I'm actually operating like on 3 hours of sleep the last few days. But I'll hang in there. I always do. I manage to make it through every April every year. So anyhow, don't forget, like, subscribe, ring the bell. Tell me, how was your day? And what do you think about the position of the United States on the global stage? Are we really the number one anymore? Where do you think we rank? 10, 12, 17? You tell me. I look forward to seeing your comments. And till tomorrow. Ah!